Welcome back to the Mind Body Business Podcast. It is Motivation Monday today. I'm Jane Belante. Today is about trusting your intuition instead of living by someone else's rules. So it is almost a new year, right? We only have a few weeks left in December. And I know that in December, especially at the end of December, we start planning. And we plan how we're going to fix ourselves, fix our business, restructure our life, or maybe following someone else's version of what success is actually supposed to look like. So what I want to talk about today is something very, very different. I want to talk about what happens when you stop trying to control every outcome, stop forcing structure that doesn't feel right, and start trusting the part of you that already knows what you love, what you want, and how you want to live. Because most of the pressure people feel, especially at the end of the year right now, it's not coming from your own lack of effort. It's coming from ignoring your own instincts in favor of advice that doesn't fit you. We're trying to fit into somebody else's box. So this episode today is about building a life and a business from intuition and trust. And we started to talk about this last week, but it's intuition and trust instead of strategies, other people's rules, etc. So if you're feeling torn about what feels right to you and about what experts say you should do, right? This conversation is for you. Because as the year starts to close, there is a natural pause that happens. And I do truly hope that you pause. Because even if you don't formally plan or set goals, something inside you starts asking questions. So let's get into it. Welcome to the Mind Body Business Podcast. I'm your host, Jane Belante. And this show is about what happens when you stop separating your life, your work, and your well-being, and start leading all of it from truth. Each episode will explore the connection between your thoughts, your body, and your business, so you can create a life and success that actually feels good. Let's get started. So thank you for being here today. I know that there are some people live with me. I'm always live on my Facebook business page, Monday mornings at 10 a.m. Central Time. We got Lonnie and Pam and Angela, I know for sure are here. Say hello if you're here. And I also really want to know if this resonates with you, okay? So I was talking about, like, even if you don't formally plan or set goals, we do start asking questions, right? And these questions are usually based around how much you can hustle in the new year. Is this resonating? How you're going to show up differently. Hey, Melanie and Kimberly are here. Welcome. How are you going to show up differently, right? How are you going to show up so you can hustle your way in the new year? What's my plan of action? I am starting January 1st and I'm going to do this. Right? How can I work myself into what it is that I desire? It's all about force. It's all about, I think I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this. And then like we totally burn out in like a couple weeks, right? And we're like, ugh, never mind. This isn't working. And then you go back to your old patterns. So we actually want to ask different questions. And these different questions cause you to dive deep instead of sink into force. So these questions are like, is this actually how I want to live? Or do I like how my days feel? Do I enjoy my work? Do I enjoy my business as I have it set up now? Does my business reflect who I am or who I just think I need to be to fit into the box? And for so many of us, that honest answer feels uncomfortable. And it might sound like realizing that you don't actually love your business and you're not actually in love with the way that you're living your life. Or we notice the thing we work so hard to build doesn't feel the way we expected it to feel. And we've been making decisions based on what we think we should want instead of what we actually want. And if you're here live with me, I want to know, is this resonating with you? Is this ringing a bell? Because we look for a fix. And then we start thinking something's wrong with us, or what am I doing wrong? Or what's the better system? Or who has the answer that I'm missing? And we keep searching externally all the time. And that's the moment when our intuition gets pushed aside. We stop listening to ourselves completely. And what I have seen again and again and again is that we aren't actually lacking clarity. We're not actually lacking the drive to do what it is that we want. We are just overriding our own intuition, our own sense of direction. So instead of trusting the pull towards something simpler or something slower or something more meaningful or something that we actually love, we override it with advice that sounds impressive. Oh, Kimberly, that's so good. She says, I've done this for years, trying to satisfy the masses and not my soul. I mean, that hits. That was me. Totally get that. We force ourselves into structures that do not fit. We say yes to stuff that we don't want. We keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going, even though something inside of us is saying this isn't it. You know, we just keep doing it. It leads to burnout. And these things, they actually show up in like small everyday ways, but we feel drawn to something, but then we immediately question it. Is it good enough? Is somebody going to judge me for this, right? Overthinking it. We get excited about an idea and then we're immediately looking for reasons why it won't work, why someone won't sign up, why someone won't buy it, et cetera, et cetera. And we know internally that we want more space, more freedom, or even more creativity, or the ability to be creative for ourselves instead of what Kimberly just said, trying to satisfy the masses. But we keep telling ourselves it's not practical. This isn't going to work. So we compromise on our own intuition. It's like really sad. We try to make ourselves fit into something that looks reasonable, right? Or that looks like everybody else, and we lose ourselves. And that creates massive internal friction. I lived it for years. And it's a pattern that I can easily sink back into. So what ends up is that we sit in a ball of anxiety all the time. And, you know, our throat feels choked and we're taking those low, shallow breaths and we just feel it in our body. And we keep continuing working, but there's no pleasure in it. Hey, Michelle, you are questioning yourself at every turn, overthinking, feeling confused, being stuck in perfectionism, and unsure of where we're actually going. And this is especially true in business, right? There's no shortage of advice telling you how to scale, how to optimize, how to do things the right way. And if you listen long enough and keep searching externally all the time, we lose touch with what we actually enjoy doing. And you start building things for growth instead of actual meaning. We step out of what we love and we do stuff for everybody else. You know, and you've heard me say a million times before, most of us just sort of fell into having this business that we have. And all of a sudden we have a business. you know? And it makes sense that you're trying to learn from other people that have, made themselves successful. But that is forcing ourselves into strategy and into this box that probably isn't meant for us. And what you have to realize is that the people that you're looking at, they've built their businesses based upon who they are. And it doesn't mean it's going to work for you. And that's when you're forcing yourself to do things that you don't like, that's just what it is. It's force. It's not going to be like, abundance and flow. It's going to be force. We start building for growth instead of meaning, for approval instead of satisfaction, for an outcome instead of the actual life that we wish we were living. And then we start wondering why we're even doing this in the first place. And then we shrink back. We don't do what we say we're going to do. And this is what I'm here to interrupt. And when I say interrupt, I mean like a slap in the face. We have to stop wandering around in this hive mind mentality. This is where the anxiety comes from. We're trying to fit ourselves into a box that is made up. It isn't meant for us. We want to have successful businesses that actually help us create successful lives, the lives with the freedom that we want, with the ability to do what we want when we want, right? That's why we started this business in the first place, right? We have got to understand that if we don't follow our intuition, that's what keeps us in the box, right? That's what keeps us in the box. And what I am interested in now, and what I invite you to consider, is what changes when you stop trying to make everything make sense to someone else. And, Kim, since you have been working with me for over a year, you're in my next level program right now. And what you just said, I've done this for years, trying to satisfy the masses and not my soul. I'm really interested in what you have to say. What changes when you stop trying to make everything make sense to someone else? Angela says peace. Ugh. I mean, that says it all. You have a sense of peace. And that's what it's all about. We don't need to be stuck in this hustle. And we do need to still run our business like a business. We can't just do nothing. We can't just do nothing, because it just isn't magically going to arrive if we're just sitting around doing nothing, right? Pam says freedom, and I don't know if Kim is still here. So Pam says freedom, and that is the truth. And I know that Pam, Pam has just made some really huge moves in her life. And, she spent all weekend creating. Oh, you are here, Kim. Ease and clarity. She spent all weekend creating instead of catering to everybody else. And Kim says ease and clarity, right? Moving forward with what you actually want to do instead of how everybody else says you have to do it. When you stop trying to make your choices make sense to everyone else, you notice how much how much energy, where'd money come from? You notice how much energy you were spending on that. When you stop trying to make your choices make sense to everyone else, you notice how much energy you were spending on that. That's what I talk about when you're like, stuck in the hamster wheel, or, that cycle of nothing, where you just keep repeating the same thing over and over, where it's like Groundhog's Day. and all your energy is just spent on the hustle, and then you're not getting anything back. You're not getting anything in return. It might be growing bit by bit, but then you notice in your body how that anxiety is really building up. And that's when you're like really starting to overthink. You notice how often you edit yourself before you even act upon what it is that you want to do. You notice how often you're deciding in advance what's acceptable. Well, let's see, let's see what other people will think of this. Is this acceptable? Will I fit in? And you notice how rarely you ask whether you actually wanted what you were working towards. You're just like stuck in the hustle, stuck in the push. Letting yourself want what you want changes that. And this is when we start choosing based on interest instead of an obligation to stay in the hustle. And you start to do more of what you enjoy instead of dismissing it as being impractical. Because doing what you enjoy gets you and keeps you in the flow. It keeps you in possibility. It keeps you vibrating at a higher frequency because you're not overthinking. You're just being. You're being what you love. And then we can pay attention to how your days feel. It's not just a to-do list of what you can get done in one day. Like there's no competition on who can do the most in one day, right? And that alone changes how you work. It changes what you say yes to. And it changes how much effort things take. You start to like press the easy button. And this has been especially clear for me in business. Anytime that I have tried to follow a formula that didn't match how I think or I create, it's literally taken more out of me than it's given back. Who here feels that? Following a formula that didn't match how you think or you create, has it taken more out of you than it's given back? And then on the flip side, anytime I've built something around what I actually like doing, it's way easier to sustain. Do you feel that? Angela's clapping, right? Do you feel that? When we move away from all of that clarity, all of that flow, all of that excitement, that's when things start to feel forced again. And we're showing up in ways that don't feel natural. We're following plans we wouldn't choose if somebody else wasn't watching. Or we just think people are watching. And then we keep going, but it takes more out of us than it should. And then over time, we're compensating. We're overthinking to the point of not doing anything at all. We push more. We convince ourselves that something's fine when it isn't. And intuition doesn't show up as a clear message telling us what to do next because we push it away. We push it away and we go, I don't know, like, oh man, that'd be really cool. But yeah, I don't know. It's not what they're doing and they're making money doing this and it's not blah, blah, blah. Like, ugh. Sometimes intuition shows up as a clear message telling us what to do next, but most of the time it shows up in small reactions and a gut feeling and relief. And the difference between wanting to return to something and needing to talk ourselves into it is intuition. When we ignore those reactions, we rely on structure to carry us through. And that's when we get burned out. When we pay attention to those gut reactions, those just little, ding, oh, something like this. Oh, I really hate doing this. Why am I doing this? When we pay attention to that, the structure starts to shift. And this changes how we work and what we're actually building. We're actually building something that we want. We stop trying to force ourselves into structure that is not made for us. So instead of asking first whether something is smart or strategic, or if we're being a good business person or whatever, we start noticing whether we actually want to do it or not, whether it fits how we want to spend our time, whether it's something we can stay with without constant hustle and constant pressure. And this is about noticing what we want to continue and what we don't want to continue. Yes, Michelle says, definitely. So as we move into this new year, this is the way that I am choosing to stay in relationship with manifestation. Because we are manifesting all the time. And we are manifesting through the identity of who we are being. And conceptually, front brain, like we can think, oh no, I'm building the business that I want. But if we continually repeat the same patterns over and over and over of lack of starting something and stopping something, of never having enough money, this is the identity I'm talking about. Manifestation through identity, through actual attention of how you are being, through how we're living and choosing in real time. In real time. This is manifestation. And I've really, really been leaning into like the structures in my own business. And I have had the Limitless Creators Lab in some form or fashion for years. And I really honestly understand how it needs to be structured now, and it needs to be structured as manifestation through identity. So we're using my process of art fusion journaling once a month in the lab right now, and it's amazing and beautiful, and the people that come see massive growth from it. But I understand now that this lab needs to be a living, breathing place where we can be supported in our identities. It's manifestation through identity. It's a living monthly container where we're working with identity as the source of what you're creating. And this isn't just theory, but it's like who you're being all the time. And so each month I'm adding. Okay, so I'm adding, and I'm telling you all of this because it is the evolution. And when you're open to possibility, you allow more flow. I understand the support people need. And this is it. And so I'm adding, instead of just going, meeting once a month, I'm adding more orientation and more awareness, and teaching what's underneath the patterns that people experience on a daily basis. And we're reframing what manifestation is, because we only think like, oh, manifesting is just for good stuff, but we're manifesting all the time. So week one is just a teaching, and this is all on your own time. And then week two, I am adding transformational meditations, and I am a master meditation teacher. And so like, I need to add more of this, because this is the key. Meditation is a non-negotiable. You must do it in order to tap into your subconscious brain. Manifestation actually happens through coherence. So these meditations are going to be focused on safety, on receiving, on releasing that unconscious gripping. And then we're going to continue doing the art fusion journaling. If you've never done it with me, it is a process of stream of consciousness writing and creation. You don't have to identify as artist in order to do this. And then the last week, we're doing oracle cards, we're doing rituals, spacious integration. So again, none of this is like force. It's all integration. It's all integration. And that is, I'm just trying to copy this. That is the pattern that gets you to that coherence so that you are manifesting what you want instead of what you don't want. So my new structure for the lab is all of that. It's really a beautiful place to be supported without effort, right? And I know a lot of people are like, what do you mean no effort? Meditating is hard, right? Meditating is just a practice. It's the sense of allowing, tapping in, not trying to meditate when you're in a high beta state, like when you're in anxiety and overriding yourself, not trying to do it then because it won't work. Right? It just goes nowhere. That's why meditation doesn't work, right? So it's a beautiful place to be supported in your manifestation journey. I'm going to put the link here. If you're not in there, I really invite you to come. If you want to see change in your life for a really low investment, $37 a month, okay? For a very low investment, I invite you to come. If you're there and you aren't showing up, I invite you to show up. I invite you to come. I invite you to move into 2026 in a different way than you've ever moved before. Through flow, through ease, through self-love, through creativity and play and support. And not just support from me, but support from all of the other amazing people that are in there. So this is my way of inviting you into possibility and doing that in a way that doesn't really disrupt your life, that is not in pressure. It is not you having to come and take classes. It is not you, forcing, hustling. It's none of that. It's creative flow and ease through coherence. It is manifestation through identity. So $37 a month. If you aren't in there, get in there now. Get in there now and imagine what your life could be like in 2026. Imagine what your business could be like in 2026. If you stepped out of the hustle, if you stepped out of the anxiety, and you actually treated yourself with love and kindness so that you understand who you are and who you want to be in your life and in your business in 2026. I also have a signature course that will be available all the time coming out in January called Manifestation Through Identity. That course will be $197. You can take it whenever you want, but if you want to learn all of the amazing things that I use in my own life to manifest exactly what I want when I want it, this course is going to tell you how to do that. So that's coming out in January. If you want to get a head start, get into the lab. Get into the lab now. Commit to yourself. Commit to your own possibility. And I can't wait to see you there. So next Monday is the last Motivation Monday of the year. I am going to take the last 2 weeks of December completely off. I trust that this is something that you want to do too. So next Monday is the last Motivation Monday of the year. And I'm excited to meet you here next week. And I'm also excited to see you inside of the Limitless Creators Lab. So with that, have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you soon.